FLC faculty, I'm excited to announce that I'm going to be running for Folsom Lake College's LRCFT president. My name is Kalinda Jones. I was hired in 2015 as a social work human service faculty. And since that time, I've done work both on campus, online, in the prison, and I've also had the privilege of working as a faculty coordinator. What you may not know about, you may know those things about me. What you probably don't know about me is that my union roots run deep. I was raised in the greater Detroit area of Michigan, and unions there built the infrastructure for the middle class. They sustained the middle class for decades. And unfortunately, if you were going to go to Detroit today, you would see that is no longer the case. The economy has and continues to suffer, and unions are pretty absent, and that has definitely affected people's quality of life. Myself, I experienced kind of this union, what I would call a union decline in Michigan. And so in the 1990s and early 2000s, I was working as a high school teacher and a school counselor in two different districts in the state of Michigan. And I would say that I was a pretty passive union member. I didn't really know my contract and didn't really know what was going on with my union until some of my benefits started to roll back. For example, we used to have time off, like half a day off to grade and prep before student conferences and before grades were due. And all of a sudden that was gone. I don't even know what happened, but we were working full days and preparing. So we had this workload increase. And we also had some compensation that stagnated because we were unsuccessful in negotiating our contract. We were working under an old contract, which meant our compensations, our salaries stayed the same. That particular negotiation cycle, our benefits increased. And so we essentially, our compensation didn't really stagnate, it actually decreased. Years later, I learned that this was happening all over the state of Michigan, that teachers' unions were not having the ability at the bargaining table to actually negotiate new contracts, and that people's compensation was either stagnating or decreasing. And you can imagine the impact that this had on the quality of life, as well as the quality of working conditions for teachers all over that state. Now, until people live this, I'm not sure how easy it is to imagine how fast union rights can just roll back. And this occurs when union presence is not obvious or when it declines. And unfortunately, I learned the very hard way that I wanted to be an active as opposed to a passive union member. So when I came to FLC, I was ready to get involved. I talked with Casey, I talked with James. James encouraged me to get involved as a delegate to the CFT conference or convention. I did that in the spring of 2016. And then starting in the spring of 2018, I became your rep to LRCFT's executive board. So I'm one of your FLC reps. And in that role, I've done many things, including working with the Social Justice Caucus for the Faculty Empowerment Series. And probably one of the things that I did that was maybe most important, I don't know if you can say that, but maybe, was in 2020, I had heard many faculty say that they were very concerned about their salaries. And so we had some data that I looked at that very clearly indicated that we were in the bottom 10 of districts in every part of the salary scale. We were in the bottom 10 of districts for salary all over the state of California. So we hit the bottom 10 everywhere. Now, there were many people on the executive board that were not vibing with this, but with faculty saying this was a problem for them and me representing faculty, and with data saying this was a problem, I gathered faculty together from across the district and started working on advocating for salary changes. And I've been working on that and will continue to work on that. So in addition to this work, some of the things I've shared, I also have really enjoyed working with the other LRCFT reps at FLC and with James. I wish I could continue to work with James, but he's chosen to move on and to not put his name in for FLC's union president this round. If elected, I plan to continue his collaborative and empowering leadership style. And a few things that are very important to me as I've listened to faculty at FLC is workload creep. I'd like to see us assess this and address this more broadly. I'd like all of us to increase and understand our contract better so that after we've talked and we have a good understanding, we can be better at explaining and using that in our conversations with administration and make sure that we're staying within the bounds of that contract. As I mentioned with salaries, I'd like us to do fact-based decision-making, not personal attacks or mythology as ways that we guide our decisions, but instead facts used to assist us in making decisions about faculty working conditions. I've enjoyed working collaboratively with our academic senate leaders at FLC, and I plan to continue to do that. I believe that work is vital. And as I said earlier, I will continue to work with all of you to increase compensation and increase knowledge of the reason that compensation needs to still be addressed, especially as the cost of living continues to increase in the greater Sacramento area. As a person who has committed to not be a passive union member, but to be active as a union member so that our union remains strong and our working conditions remain solid, if I become your president, I will be pleased to serve all of you as we work together as active and empowered union members.